All right, hey, what's up, y'all? Just had some on my mind real quick. So y'all know I stay in Facebook jail and shit. That's kind of my thing, I guess, on Facebook, whatever. But so let's say the past few weeks, y'all know I've been dealing with shit on my own in my own personal life or whatever. But I've also been seeing other things I couldn't comment on. And even just recently, I posted, I think the maker or the creator or whatever blocked me on. But the gist of this video is to talk about how men, and I'm gonna specifically talk about black men in general, not, of course, not every black man. It's not things that I complain about, things that I care to complain about. It's things that I know better than to complain about because I understand how and why it started. At least as far as how it affects today's society or whatever. But it's been a school of thought, a running commentary type thing, a running complaint in the black community, seemingly primarily perpetuated by other black men and stuff like that. Pretty much calling black women traitors, race traitors and shit like that. And I get like the things that some of these motherfuckers see that make them say that type of shit or whatever. And the majority of it is based on black women, dating interracially or dating outside of American black men. Well, first and foremost, it's just really dating interracially. But then there's another school of thought that specifically has issue with black women that date out, like American black women that date outside of American black men. But that's honestly neither here nor there. Just another aspect of it, honestly. But a majority of what a lot of these black men complain about, some of these black men you'll see will be like red pill or manosphere or alpha male type shit, the black ones in particular. And not even just them, like the pro-black Hotep, Hebrew Israelite motherfuckers. A lot of them will use the fact that some black women date interracially or date outside of black men, and they'll justify their comments about black women being race traitors on that. That's not really my cup of tea per se, but I understand what they're saying. I don't agree with it per se, but I understand it. But the point that I want to make here, and I'm going to delve into why I'm making this point specifically. A lot of these motherfuckers, they equate black women dating out to betrayal. They consider, betrayal of, race and shit like that. But so many instances that I've seen, that I've been paying attention to since, I will say, around a little bit after Sandra Bland was killed, because I started seeing comments, stuff like that, talking about if she had just complied or whatever. And mind you, when this was going on, there were other black men that were being like killed by, police brutality or whatever. And so while these other narratives for black men were going on, there was dissent among the black community, with some people blaming Sandra Bland, and then later on Jessica Hampton, which that story specifically to me sticks so much in my craw, so to speak. I got that from Skip Bayless, but sticks so much in my craw because it wasn't like saying this woman was a result of like police brutality. She was murdered in cold blood by one of our own. And then, of course, after that, in my mind, Corrin Gaines, and not to say there aren't other victims in between this, but those are just some of the ones that stick out in my mind. Not also to mention more recently, in 2020, Jamelia Stroy and Oluwatoyin Salau. Rest in peace to all those sisters. But the point that I'm trying to make is a lot of black men equate black women dating out or dating interracially or whatever as betrayal. They consider it egregious. But if you really sit and you really look at it, there's been platforms in the black community ran by black men, and of course there have been black women at different times that have cooperated with that type of rhetoric, that type of mind frame, and co-signed that shit. That has been dedicated to ridiculing, disrespecting, denigrating, primarily single black mothers. I would say overall black motherhood, because if a black mother was married and then she gets divorced, they're still going to count that as a tarnishment against her name. that are against her, like, quote unquote value. And then on a broader spectrum, black women in general. And then of course, it even further, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it breaks down even further on the basis of colorism and stuff like that. Respectability politics, as far as, a woman's body, if she's more heavy set, i.e. fat, then she's more prone to being ridiculed or disrespected because she's not palatable or physically appealing, quote unquote, to a lot of people. And then of course, if a woman is too skinny, even though, skinniness is also part of the generally accepted aesthetic as far as beauty goes for women, she can still be ridiculed. So I understand all of that is kind of like on the spectrum. But the point that I'm getting at through all those words is that when you look at how things have been playing out in the black community, I'd say for the greater part of, 2023, I'd say for the greater part of the last 30 to 50 years, black men have been way more treasonous towards black women in general. Not only from the music that we make, from the media that many black men partake in, such as even Tyler Perry, which I don't inherently have an issue with Tyler Perry or other comedians per se, because I get it. It's, it's humor. I don't think a lot of the comedians that portray that image of black women and do it with the intent to just be disrespectful, but they understand that it's funny. But to the bigger topic, damn, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so the point that I'm trying to make is that even through media, whether it be music, comedy like movies and stuff like that, and other types of movies, there's been a lot of energy given to disrespecting black women. But that's all that is, like, minuscule in the grand scheme of things, because here more recently, there's been several black men that have advocated for the utter erasure of black women, black females, as in like the utter murder, the utter killing, the utter culling, because a lot of them feel as if black women, specifically American black women, but like black women abroad, because they consider a Western mindset to be a disease and infecting black women in other countries. They've been saying that they need to go ahead and factory reset black women here in America because they feel as if that they are spoiled, they are rotten, they are trash, pretty much. That's what it boils down to. If you look at not simply just the rate of black femicide, but the fact that a lot of the murders or killing of black women occurs in the black community, majority of those people that are killing black women or black females, as in black girls and black women, are in fact black males, which includes black boys and black men, because a lot of black boys are shooting up their neighborhoods, committing murder. There have also been a few instances of black teenage boys committing familicide, as in murdering their whole entire family, or at least trying to. When you look at the grand scheme of things, not only just the type of murder, the type of killings, the motivation, hell, even a couple of years ago when the dude tried to kill his baby mama and ended up killing her own family because she wouldn't split her stimulus check with him or something like that because he owed back child support and he wasn't gonna get shit. The overall actions of black men in general has been more treasonous, more egregious than black women simply dating outside of the race. And again, I'm not saying that I'm, for it per se, but what I'm saying is if we're trying to make a comparison, it's really comparing apples to oranges. There's no real comparison behind somebody attempting to find love and motherfuckers going out their way to kill somebody, or because they are in their feelings going out their way to murder somebody and then killing themselves, or feeling as if because they don't want to be with them anymore that they're justified in killing them, which is a lot of what's going on. And it's also along the same frame of mind, frame of thought, that leads black men to react violently or aggressively towards black women that do not reciprocate their advances or give them the answer they want to hear whenever they're approached. Whether it don't really matter what they're approached for. A lot of black men are egotistical or overly entitled when they don't receive the answer that they want. I'm getting out the gym, y'all, so I feel like there's a lot more that I want to say, but truth be told, a lot of things that most black men complain about as far as black women are concerned, in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to compare like generally what black women say and do versus what a lot of black men say and do, And not only what a lot of black men say and do, but what a lot of black men also agree with or don't speak out against, you realize that there really is no comparison, right? A lot of black men, whenever you when you try to discuss what's going on in our community, they always relegate the issues down to relationship dynamics. Which, don't get me wrong, personal or romantic relationship dynamics is important. That is a factor in the black community. However, that is not the entirety. That is not the full picture of what many black women that are aware complain about when it comes to black men. Yesterday, or maybe it was early this morning, I was commenting on a post where a dude had asked, why do women give out the number when they don't have any intention of, I guess, talking to the dude or whatever? And to me, that is an obvious question. It should be common fucking sense. But of course, you have women on there saying because they want to go home, they don't want to be harassed, they don't want to be harmed. Which also reminds me, I think it was in New York back in 2018 or 2019 during the Memorial Day parade. A woman was approached by a man and she denied his advances and he shot her in the face. There was also the instance of, I think it was a woman that might have been in Philly or New York or somewhere up north from Texas. And I guess some dudes offered to buy her liquor or something like that. And she denied, the advance, or she denied the offer. And they chased her down and they bit her face, literally took their teeth and bit her face. There was another instance where a woman had denied a man on the subway somewhere, and she sat down, I guess, minding her business, and he came back and literally smeared feces in her face. There was another instance, which I remember in Atlanta a couple of years ago, where a black woman was out with her black boyfriend, and a dude driving by in a car, a black man, tried to holler at her or whatever, and she denied his advances because, of course, she's out there with her boyfriend. And this dude took a gun out and literally shot her in her shin or her leg. And these are instances of violence just because a black woman said no. And don't get me wrong, this happened across all demographics. The overall egotistical approach of men, or the egotistical tantrums that men like to throw whenever they're not told the answer they want to hear. I call it submission and a smile, pretty much, which is not just something that is expected of women in relationships. Apparently, it's also expected of women outside relationships as well. I feel like there's more that I could say, but like I told you, I'm coming out the gym. I'm kind of coming down, so to speak, but I might make a part 2 of this video. But the overall gist of this video, when it comes to the narrative that black women in general speak out against about black men versus what many black men, especially on these punk ass podcast platforms or whatever, what many of them speak out against, there is no real comparison. Black women essentially are complaining about the lack of safety and the lack of protection, which I already told y'all, it should be more emphasis on not harming versus not protecting, because you already know these motherfuckers complain about black women complaining about not being protected, when if we emphasize not harming to begin with more so than we complain about black women complaining about protection, it may not be as big as of an issue that we make it out to be whenever we complain. But anyways, the point is that there is no real comparison. A lot of things that motherfuckers complain about, it's trivial, it's minuscule, it's literally trying to make an ant out of a molehill to what, hold on, wait, is it an anthill into a molehill, or a grain of sand into a molehill, whatever it is, and trying to compare that shit to Mount Everest. That's the that's the gist of what I'm trying to say. But yeah.